Good morning. In just under an hour, Moscow will declare what they are calling a silence regime and will open evacuation corridors in several cities to allow people to escape, including from the capital, Kyiv. Most of the evacuation routes offered by Moscow, though, are into Russia, a condition previously rejected, of course, by the Ukrainian government. In an historic move, Ukrainian President will address MPs in the House of Commons later today via video link after the Speaker, Lindsay Hoyle, approved a request from Volodymyr Zelensky. Shortly, we'll be speaking to the journalist Oz Chatterjee, who is still in Kyiv this morning. But first, Louisa James has this report. Oz, just let's talk about these so-called, and I call them so-called carefully, humanitarian corridors that have been offered. They're meant to be opening at 7 o'clock UK time. Is there any thought that people there will trust the Russians when they say you can leave, even if that is, ironically, to go into Russia?
No chance.
Let's hope that speech to the House of Commons galvanises the UK, because more than 1.7 million individual lives have so far been displaced since Russia launched its invasion of Ukraine. The UN says it expects this number to rise to 4 million people in the coming weeks. Over 1 million people have, with such trauma already. There's aid there, isn't there? But what about their sort of emotional state? I mean, is there any psychological support there for them and their children?
Hi, Ron.
Well, here, the impact of Russia's invasion on Ukraine is being felt at the petrol pumps, with average petrol prices exceeding £1.55 per litre for the first time ever. Diesel has also reached a record high of just over £1.61, and the price of a barrel of oil hit a 14-year high. Nithya, I think everybody's already feeling it if you have a car at the moment, but the price is set to rise by something like 5 pence a day. Elsewhere in the news this morning, now, it's International Women's Day, and 3 centuries after their dreadful treatment, an apology may finally be granted to the thousands of women who were executed under Scotland's Witchcraft Act. Campaigners are fighting for a pardon and a national memorial for the victims, and they want Scotland to send a powerful message to the rest of the world, as Juliet Dunlop reports. Extraordinary story, isn't it? Back to
well, how come it's taken hundreds of years? I mean, does it really need to go through the entire process? Can't they just instantly issue a pardon?
Well, you would think so. There's lots of things that should perhaps instantly happen.
Yeah.
I've no doubt that there's an enormous will in this country to open up our streets. During COVID, I mean, nobody, we did that.
Yeah, and that would
volunteer service in this country.
I think a lot of people.
Susanna, good morning. Moscow has declared what they're called. I'm sure lots of people feel that way. That's it from me for now.
Thank you.
You don't think about this.
I think don't you have more tourists than you do people living there?
Yeah, above our heads. I mean, it was kind of extraordinary. Can I just ask you a question, though, just interesting about the gender equality thing, about how it affects men in society? Because there's a lot of questions about if women are hate is had. Where's that ever had in Iceland? And no, I think that. So it will cost more to fill up your car. First of all, petrol prices exceeding £1.55 a litre. It could soar to £1.75 a litre next week. The average household energy bill, we've talked a lot about it, might reach as much as £3,000 a year due to higher gas and oil prices. There are some experts even warning that interest rates could rise to a whopping 10%, which would mean higher mortgage repayments for about 2.2 million homeowners. And, of course, we're already seeing that food is becoming more expensive with the price of packaging and transport jumping up. And oil prices could also impact holidays. Ryanair warning that the higher flight prices could be coming our way this summer. And the price of cars themselves and building materials may also rise, as Russia is one of the world's largest metal suppliers. So plenty, unfortunately, to get our teeth into there. Russia says that civilians are being allowed to flee several cities in Ukraine, including the capital Kyiv, as they opened evacuation corridors this morning, although the Ukrainian government are yet to agree. In an historic move, the Ukrainian president will also address MPs here in the House of Commons later today via video link after the Speaker, Lindsay Hoyle, approved a request from Volodymyr Zelensky. Let's go to this report from Louisa James. Well, more than 1.7 million individual lives have been displaced since Russia launched its invasion of Ukraine. The UN says it expects this number to rise to 4 million in the coming weeks. On the border in Poland, what's happening?